In today's video, we're going to be setting up qBittorrent according to TRaSH guides and using the cache option within Unraid. If you don't have a cache drive, I recommend you get one and add it to your system. I'll leave a link in the description to a drive that I recommend. If you'd set up qBittorrent from my previous video, then make these adjustments to get qBittorrent set up for TRaSH guides using WireGuard. Stick around, we're going to do a quick install and then get into the configuration. Let's get started. Hey, just wanted to jump in here real quick and let you know, I had some camera issues. Ended up not recording a bunch of stuff, so it's not a whole lot of me in this one, but, it's not a big deal, I'm assuming. Now, let's get into it. First thing we're going to do is go to Apps, and we're going to search for qBittorrent. I really like the BinHex container, so I'm going to stick with that. As you can tell, I've already got mine installed, and if you do as well, and you're just making some adjustments, then this Actions button here, you're going to click on that and go to Edit. If this is your first time setting it up, then this Action button will say Install. So we're going to start there. First thing I need to do in here is change the network type from bridge to our custom network. If you don't have a custom network set up yet, go see my other video, Bring in TRaSH with TRaSH guides on Unraid. In there I go over how to set up a custom network. I'll leave a link in the description. Next we need to check host ports 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and expand Docker allocations. I'll go back up to those ports, find the top one, double click on it, and hit Control F to do the find feature. There it'll show you your results. I've got 5 found. There's 4 right here within the container. I'm going to scroll down and look at my allocations, and there's 1 allocated there, but it's for the same container I'm already working on, so that is fine. If you've got that port allocated to some other container, then you're going to have to make an adjustment. I like to just increment it by 1, so make this like 6882, and then see if that's available. Since mine's good, I'm going to carry on 8080. Double click on that, Control F again, 4 results, 2 there, 1 there, and then 1 on the container we already have, so that one's as good as well. Back to the top. Last one is host port 4. Double click on that one. Same process, Control F. Look at the results, same container, so we're good. Next we have host path 2. This is where the downloads are going to go. In the previous video, I had set it to /mnt/user/downloads. But according to TRaSH guides, we need to change this, so let's drop off the downloads, and we will select data, and then torrents. Then we'll click off there. Key 1 is for the VPN enabled. Yes, we definitely want that enabled, so I'll make sure that says yes. And then key 2 is going to be the VPN username. In this demo, I'm going to be setting it up for private internet access, or PIA. If you're not a private internet access customer yet, then jump down to the description and use the link to get started. I've arranged a deal for my followers to get an 84% discount. So click on the link to get started. I've been using PIA for years. I think it's the best solution out there. It's rock solid, just works. Back to key 2. That's where you'll put your VPN username, and then key 3 is going to be the VPN password. In key 4, we're going to drop down and select PIA. That's the internet provider. There are other options in there, but like I said, we're doing the PIA option. Key 5, you want to set that for WireGuard. Key 6, we're going to leave blank. Key 7, we want to set to yes because we do want port forwarding. Key 8, once again, is yes. That enables the privacy, which allows traffic to go through the VPN, such as other Dockers and even your desktop if you wanted it to. Key 9 we'll leave on no. Key 10 is the web UI port, and that port number there, the 8080 is default, and up above there was another 8080 there, so as long as that number was clear up there, you should be good on that one. Key 11 is your LAN network address. That's going to be the first 3 octets followed by .0/24. So for me, it's going to be 10.0.0 and then .0/24. If yours is a 192.168.1. something, then yours would be 192.168.1.0/24. And we will leave the name servers alone. Those are fine. And I believe everything else is good. Yes. So we'll scroll to the bottom, we'll hit apply. And then once that's done, we'll hit done. While yours is installing, the common question I get asked a lot is, but how do we know that it's actually using the VPN? I'll answer that later in this video. All right, done is there, so I can click done. The next thing we're going to need to do is configure WireGuard. To do that, let's open up File Explorer. We're going to browse to our server. So for me, it's going to be //10.0.0.11. You'd put in your IP address, obviously. So we're going to put another / and then app data. We're going to look in the list here and find our BinHex qBittorrentVPN folder, open that up. Then we'll open our WireGuard folder. In there, you'll find the wg0.conf file. We're going to need to edit that, so I'm going to right click on it and edit with Notepad++. The last line in this file here is going to be the endpoint. Endpoint equals, for me, it's ca-toronto.privacynetwork:1337. We're going to need to edit this endpoint. PIA has a large list of endpoints. I grabbed a text file that had all of them in it, so it was a big mess. I went through and cleaned that up and organized it, and I created a free download with all the endpoints. I'll leave a link in the description to that download. So you just change your endpoint to one that's closest for you. Next we need to do is go and save this file. So I'm going to go to File, Save. It's already saved. That's why it's grayed out. And then I'm going to exit out. Now we need to go restart qBittorrent. So I'm going to go to Docker. We'll find it in the list here. I've got Docker folders set up, so yours may look a little different, possibly something like this. So you'll find it in the list, click on the icon, and then we're going to go to Restart. And if you're interested in getting these folders set up for your system, I have a video, the 11 must-have plugins for Unraid or something like that. I'll leave that in the description too, so you can go check that out. I cover how to set it up in there. All right, looks like it's back up, so we're going to go ahead and log into it. So click on the icon and go to Web UI. All right, the default username is admin, and the default password is admin, all lowercase. If these don't work for you, then there was an issue introduced in version 4.6.1. The default password is randomly set. Unfortunately, it doesn't show you what that password is. So to get around that, you need to downgrade the container and set a password, and then return to the newest version. And I'll show you how to do that real quick. We'll go back to our Unraid server, and we will find the container listed there. We'll click on the name here, and then under repository where it says binhex/arch-qBittorrentVPN. After that, we want to put in a colon 4.6.0-1-01. Basically, we're just telling it to go back to this older version before that bug was introduced. We're going to scroll to the bottom and hit apply, and that'll downgrade the container. Once that's done, go ahead and hit done. And now let's go log in. So go back to the icon for it, go to Web UI, put in the username and the password. I've changed mine already, so that's why it's coming up as an error on mine, but we'll get in there real quick. So at this point, your username would be admin, and then the password would be admin. You hit login, and it should go in. Now we're going to go change the password. So let's go up to Tools, down to Options, and then over on the Web UI tab, we're going to look for this authentication section here, and we're going to put in the username. You can leave it admin if you'd like. I changed mine to demo, and then you set your password right below there. Once you get that set, scroll down and hit save. So we're going to test that real quick, make sure it actually took effect. Go to File, and we'll log out. Go ahead and put in your new username and password, and it should go right in. So once you have it working, we need to go back to the latest version. So to do that, go back to our Docker container. We'll go back and edit that. Let me get rid of that. There we go. Find it in the list. Click on the text. Then at the end of the repository, we're going to remove everything at the end, including the colon. So colon 4.6.0-1-01 we're going to get rid of. Scroll back down and hit apply. And then press done when it's done. Give it a moment, make sure it's up. All right, we'll go to the Web UI. Looks like it's still loading up. While that's loading up, I just want to let you know that I truly appreciate all the comments and the support that you've given me. If you haven't subscribed yet and I've given you some value, please consider subscribing now. Let's see if we can get to 10,000 subs by the end of the year. It's a stretch, but I think we can do it. All right, looks like it's back up. So I'm going to log in again, put in your ID and your password. Now let's configure qBittorrent for TRaSH. First thing we're going to do is go to Tools and then Options. We don't need to worry about the behavior. We'll skip over that. We're going to go to Downloads first. Then for torrent content layout, we want to keep that in original. The next two we don't need to worry about. We want to select delete.torrent files afterwards. Want that selected. Next, we'll select pre-allocate disk space for all files. But if you're running a ZFS file system, then you do not want that enabled. The default Unraid setup doesn't have ZFS set up, so you should be good to go. If you have ZFS, you'll know. What this option does is it limits the fragmentation and make sure that you have available drive space on your server. Down under Savings Management, the default torrent management mode, we want set to automatic. When torrent category is changed, we want that to relocate torrent. When the default save path changed, we want to relocate affected torrents. And the same thing for when category save path changed. We want that on relocate affected torrents. Then under default save path, our old setup we had it under /data/complete. We're changing that. So let's get rid of complete, and we're changing that to /torrents. So /data/torrents. And then we had it so it's keeping the incomplete torrent in a separate folder. We're not going to worry about that now, so you can deselect that. Next, we'll jump over to connection. The peer connection protocol, we're going to drop down and select TCP. And then under use UNP/NAT/PMP port forwarding for my router, we want to disable that. So you want that to be unchecked. Then under connection limits, this is kind of a personal preference, whatever matches your system requirements. And it all depends on what you've got as far as, internet bandwidth and stuff. So mine are set at 500, 120, and 4. So it's a good starting spot. You can always go in and make adjustments to that. It's nothing critical to the system. Next, we're going to go up to speed. For global rate limits, I have mine all set at 0. But if you have other people using your connection, say at like a home network or something, then you'd want to set this for 70 to 80% of your bandwidth. If you don't know how to figure that out, coming up, we'll cover how to calculate that. Then under alternative rate limits, this is a personal preference. Basically, it's just going to define the bandwidth usage during a certain schedule. And to set that up, you would just set up whatever you want your rates to be, up and download limits. And then you turn on the schedule and you set it for whatever you'd like. Right now it's, 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. But, it changes to whatever. You can have it every day. You can have it, weekdays only, weekends only, certain day of the week. Pretty simple. I don't need that feature, so I'm going to turn that off. Then under rate limit settings, we want the first and the last apply rate limit turned on. The center one, we want that one disabled. Next, we're going to jump up to the BitTorrent tab. Under privacy, we're going to select all three of those. Note here that these settings are mainly used for public trackers and should be enabled for them. If you're using private trackers, then you'd want these three disabled. And for encryption mode, we're going to set that for allow encryption. And then enable anonymous mode, we want that one disabled. Down under torrent queuing, once again, this depends on your setup, your internet connection, your bandwidth. For me, I'm just going to set mine to 25 and then 15 and 15. Then you'll check do not count slow torrents in these limits. So in a nutshell, it's saying that if anything is downloading less than 10 kilobits per second, or it's uploading less than 10 kilobits per second, or that there's been inactivity for 60 seconds, then it basically considers those as not active. So it'll allow another active torrent to come down that way. Then down under seating limits, torrent guides recommend setting these up in the R apps. But for now, I'm just going to set up the ratio for 2. And then the total seating time, instead of 24 hours, I'm going to set that for 3 hours. I got to turn these on first. There we go. 2, 180, and 180. And at the bottom, we've got automatically add these trackers to new downloads. We want that disabled. And we'll jump up to Web UI. And this is where we'd set up the username and password, the authentication right there. That stuff's already been set, so we're good there. And then for bypass authentication for clients and local hosts, you can choose to do that. You can also set up bypass authentication for clients in a whitelisted IP subnets. So you can put in your home network here. I don't bother with that one, but you can set up if you'd like. To do that, you just select that option there and then follow the same format that is got listed here. So note, it's going to be the first 3 digits of your network followed by .0/24. I'm going to disable that. I don't need it. Scrolling down, and under security, we want to disable enable clickjacking protection, enable cross-frequency forgery, CSRF protection. We want that disabled as well. And same thing with cookie secure flags. Enable host header. We want that disabled as well. That should be everything. Yep, let's go ahead and hit save at the bottom. And I had mentioned earlier that we would calculate the 70 to 80% of our maximum upload and download speeds. Let's do that now. I'm going to base my numbers on 75%, just right in the middle. So let's open up a new browser tab. We're going to go to speedtest.net. Once that comes up, press go. We'll let it do its test. And this speed test is a snapshot in time, so your numbers may vary a little bit. You could do it 2 or 3 times, just kind of get an average. And I know this 350 is a little low for me. It's usually 360, 365, someplace in there, and the upload is usually around 10. It's close enough. So once your results are back, we're going to open up Calculator, which I've got right here. Move this off to the side a bit, and we'll put in our download speed. So 300, we'll call it 348. What the heck? We'll live on the edge, do 350. We're going to multiply that by 0.75, so 262.5. But if you look, this is in megabits per second, and qBittorrent back here under options, wasn't connections, it was speed. There we go. It's wanting kilobits per second. So to convert from megabits to kilobits, we're going to need to multiply our result by 976.6. So we'll go back here and we'll take our number and multiply it by 976.6. And that right there is your resulting number. For me, 256,357.5 kilobits per second. That would be for the download. The upload here, 931, bring your calculator back up, clear this out. 9.31 times 0.75. So basically 7 megabits a second. We'll multiply that by 976.6, and your resulting number is 6.819 kilobits per second. You just plug that number right in the upload slot. I don't worry about that, but that's how you calculate it. Go ahead and close that. Since we're using qBittorrent to grab multiple types of data, we can take advantage of setting up categories. So within qBittorrent, on the left side, you're going to look for categories. Click on the arrow to expand that. Below that, you'll find all the categories that you have so far. And by default, it's just all and uncategorized. So in either one of those, you want to right click and go to add category. And then for the category name here, we're going to put in whatever category you'd like. In this case, I'm just going to do TV. You could do movies, music, whatever you want, torrents, ISOs. Torrents is kind of a bad one, but you get the point. And the save path is the location you want to save it to. And that's going to be a subfolder underneath the current torrent folder that you've got. Let me explain that a little clearer here. So if we open up our file explorer and we go back to our main server here under data, because the files are going under data and then torrents. Inside of there, these are the subfolders that I was talking about. So we have one for TV. So the path right here would be just TV. Then you hit add. And we'll do another one. Right click, add category. We'll call this movies. And the save path, it's going to be movies. I've already done this once. Let me just make sure that is the actual uppercase, lowercase spelling. Yep, that's good. So you basically just repeat that for each media type that you have. So I'm going to do one more for music, and we'll do ebooks as well. Well, we'll do them all. What the heck? Why not? So we'll do add another one, right click, add category, music, and add, and we'll do ebooks because that's the next coming up video is going to be on ebooks. So we'll do add category, ebooks. Ebooks, I believe that's what it was. Check real quick, and yes. Then audiobooks is lowercase, so we'll do that one as well. Add category and audiobooks. Just like that. We'll hit add. And that's how you create categories. It's pretty easy. And that's basically the configuration side of qBittorrent, but we're not done yet. We've got more to go. And if you're finding value in this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel while you're at it. Now we need to worry about the Unraid mover and the qBittorrent and how those interact. When torrents are active, the mover was not going to move any files from the data/torrents folder to their homes, which would be /data, media, whatever the subfolder is, TV shows, movies, whatever. So we're going to need to create a script that'll pause the torrents, run the mover, and then resume the torrents. Let's do that now. But before we can do that, we need to install a couple of plugins first. User scripts and nerd tools. In a previous video, setting up deluge for trash guides, we'd already set up user scripts and nerd tools. But if you haven't done that, let me show you how to do it real quick. We're going to go back to our server, click on apps. We're going to search for user scripts. If I can spell it right, thank you. There we go. User scripts. This action button here will say install. So you just hit install. Quick and easy. Let that finish. Then we're going to search for nerd tools. Once again, same thing. Action. It's going to say install. Hit install. And it'll install it. So now let's go configure that a little further. We need to go to settings. At the bottom, we're going to find nerd tools here. It's the little cogwheel gear icon. Click onto that. Wait for it to load up. We need to install Python 3, Python setup tools, and Python PIP. So to do that, easiest way I found is just do Control F, type in Python 3. That's a dependency. That's not what we're looking for. Go down to the next one right there. So Python 3. I've already got it installed. It is on. When you turn this one on, it will automatically turn on these other two, the PIP and the setup tools, which we need all three of those. If for some reason it doesn't, just go ahead and flip those on as well. And you'll scroll to the bottom, you hit apply, and done. Now we need to set up the qBit API file to install and start up. So to do that, we're going to go down to settings again, and then user scripts, which is right, why am I not seeing, there it is. There it is. We'll select add new script, and in here, we're going to name this qBittorrent-api. Then hit OK. Now we're going to find that in the list on the side, which is right here. Hover over the little gear icon, and then go up to edit script. Line 1, we're going to need to leave that there. So jump down to line 2. We're going to put in PIP3 space install space qBittorrent-api. Once again, that's going to be PIP3 space install space qBittorrent-api. I'll leave that in the description too, just so you have it. Then we're going to click Save Changes. Next, we're going to need to change the schedule. So find it in the list, go over to the schedule disabled side. We're going to drop down and do at first array start only. Then we're going to hit apply at the bottom. Now we're going to click run in the background and then press done. Now let's make sure it actually worked because I had an error on my other machine when I did this. So we're going to go look at the log file here. And right there, PIP3 command not found. So the PIP stuff, the Python stuff isn't working for some reason. So let me show you how to fix that real quick. Go ahead and close that window. We can leave all that. That's fine still. We're going to go back to settings, go back to nerd tools. We'll find Python in the list here. We'll turn these off. Scroll down, hit apply. I'm going to wait for it to uninstall it. All right, we'll press done now. Find those again. Control F, Python. I already had it up there. Python 3 right there. Turn that on. Scroll back down and hit apply. Well, that's doing its thing. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter yet, why don't you go ahead and consider doing that. And there I send out written out guides and installation of things like this, Unraid news, and other little tidbits of technology. It's free. I won't spam you, so go ahead and sign up. All right, that's done. I'm going to click done. So let's go back to our settings now. we're going to go down to user scripts again, find the qBit API one, and we'll run that in the background again. Hit done. And now you notice it's taking a little bit longer. It's running longer. Should have worked this time. So let's go click on the folder to see the logs. And yep, sure enough. Collecting qBittorrent API, downloading it, setting it up, downloading, collecting, yep, success. So that's good. That worked now. You can go ahead and close that. So now we need to download the mover.python script. I'll leave a link in the description for that. Let me copy it over here. I'm going to put it in my speed test window. So there's the link. But like I said, I'll leave it in the description so you can get it there too. So load that up, do Control-A to select everything. We're going to copy that information. I need to open Notepad++. That one I don't need anymore. Close that. And I've already got it in here, but I will delete everything. So new file. We'll just get rid of the whole thing. New. All right. Paste it in. There we go. Now we need to save it. So we're going to go to File, Save As. We're going to save it to our server under Data and then Scripts. So for me, I've already got it open there, but it's server IP/data/scripts. Then I'll name it mover.py. Scripts folder name is correct, and we'll hit save. Sure, we'll replace it. So done with that, let's go back to the server. We're going to need to set the scheduler to run the script. So we're going to add a new script for that. So we'll go to add new script. We're going to name this one qBittorrent mover and press OK. I'm going to find it in the list, go to the gear icon again, hover over it, and go to edit script. Then we're going to grab another script from the description. I'm going to delete out everything that's in there and then paste in the script. And it adds an extra space in front here. Let's get rid of that. Not that it matters, but just keep it clean. All right, we're going to need to change some arguments in here to match our server configuration. So the first thing we're going to do is look for a spot here in the center. Should say something about -- host, and then it's going to have the IP address and port. We need to change that information inside of there, leaving the quotes. Quotes are important. So we're going to put in our server IP address and port number for our qBittorrent. In my case, it is 10.0.0.11 and then :80. 80 is the port number for it. Next to user, your user spot, you want to, once again, leave the quotes, but put in your username there. For mine, I'd set up the user as demo. Password is going to be the password for your qBittorrent client, and mine is super secret, so I will enter that off screen. So I'll just put in here super secret for now. And the cache mount is a cache mount point within Unraid. This is used to additionally filter for only torrents that exist on the cache drive. And you'd only want to use this option if you're doing trash guides, which we are. And this is the default cache location. If you haven't changed yours, then that setting is fine. So you can go ahead and leave it. And then next we've got the days from 0 and days to 2. Those are the aging days of the torrents. I leave them on the defaults. It's basically looking for torrents that are within that age range. And the last thing we want to do is to make sure that the path here in the front is the same location that we saved that other script to, which by default it should be. It was /mnt/user/data/scripts and then mover.py, which is where I'd placed that file a moment ago. So it looks good. We're going to hit save changes. And then on schedule, we'll find that list here. We will drop down and do custom, and we're going to set up a custom cron job for that. And if you look up here, the deluge mover one, that's the same schedule. So we're going to do 0 space 4 space star space star space star. If you're not familiar with cron jobs, it's basically saying it's going to run at 4 a.m. That's it. Scroll down, we'll hit apply, and then done. So now the mover is going to run at 4 a.m. every night, and any torrent files that are completed, it'll move them from the torrent location to the actual media location where they belong. But before we go, I promised to show you how to verify the VPN is actually working. Let's do that now. A couple of different ways you can do it. Let's go to open up a web browser window, and let's go to ipleak.net. This is all my personal IP information, so I'm going to go ahead and fuzz all that out for you. This top little box up here is going to have your IP address. So you want to just note your IP address there. We're going to scroll down, and then under torrent address detection, we're going to hit activate. Where it says add this magnet link, we're going to right click on that and do copy link address. Go back to our qBittorrent. In the top left, you'll find the little link icon to add new link. I'm going to click that, right click in there and paste that in. Scroll down and hit download. It's a 0 byte file, so don't worry about any, thing there. But what it's going to do is basically just retrieve the IP address that it's using and report it back to the site we were just at. So let's go back to that site, and it's already came back with the results. Your results will show up right here, and it says my IP address is that. That one there does not match the one that I had on top. So we know that it's using a different IP address, aka the VPN. So that's one way. There's a few other sites that do the same thing, and I'll put all these in the description so you can just go click on them. But the next one here is going to be from a site called What's My IP. So I'll copy that in, do the same thing, go to that site. It shows your IP address here. We're going to go torrent magnet link. We're going to right click on that, and we'll do copy link address, go back to our qBittorrent, add a new link, paste that one in, hit download. Once again, tiny little file, no size, does the same exact thing. We go back there, scroll down just a little bit, and it has your results down below. The IP address that it found is here. Your IP is up here. They just should not match. There's another one here, TorGuard. It's a little more difficult, but not terrible by any means. So I'm going to open another tab for that. We'll paste that one in. Same exact process. Download the file, grab the link for it, copy link address, go back to qBit, paste that link in, download it. There you go. We'll go back here, and then the results pop up right here. The only difference is this site does not show you your local WAN IP address, at least not that I found. So to do that, you can go to another site. The one I always like to use is whatsmyip.com. We can just type that in. What is my IP? Excuse me, whatsmyip.net. Whatismyip.net. There. Shows your IP address there. So you're just basically comparing your IP address here against this one here, and they should be different. You can also do it within qBittorrent, but if you don't trust it, that's why it's nice to use these external sites. But to do it inside of qBittorrent, you go to View, we're going to go to Log, and that's going to activate the execution log over here on the right-hand side. Click on the execution log, and down here around line 20-ish, usually, right there, line 19. It says Detected External IP Address, and it shows you the IP address that it's using. Once again, this IP address here should not be the same one that you get on whatismyip.net. So I don't need this log anymore. Go back to View, and I'm going to turn off the log. Lastly, and this one's kind of fun, although a little scary, open up a web browser and go to iknowwhatyoudownload.com. And what it's going to do is it will return in the results of any torrents that it has detected from your WAN IP address. And it has your WAN IP address listed on the top here, also right here. And any results will show up down here. So what you're looking for here is nothing. You want it to be blank. You can even spy on your friends if you want. You can create a little link here, a little devious, but you know, if you want to, you can do it. You generate a link, you send it to them, they click on it, and then whatever they download, you can see what they download. It's kind of scary. That's why I don't click on links from your friends. Then the other option here, it says, or you can look at other similar IPs. So this is in my same area, basically, same network. Obviously not my home, but if you click on it, it'll show you what they've downloaded. And there you go, there's some results. So CNC Remastered Collection, The Three Musketeers, some Linux stuff, looks like some Russian stuff. Interesting. So there you go. Go have fun with that. Like I said, it's kind of a fun site, a little scary, but it's interesting. Once you're done with these trackers here, you can just go ahead and get rid of those links. So we'll just select them all, right click and remove. Get rid of the data too, sure. There you have it. qBittorrentVPN is set up and configured for trash guides. If you've gotten some value from this video, check out one of these videos next, and I'll see you in the next one.